I'm going to show y'all how to crochet a letter T. First I have to make the patch. I usually crochet chain 10 and then I add 1 for my turning chain because I'm just using single crochet to make this patch. So chain and 10, 11, sorry, because you're chain and stitch. And then you're going to get enough yarn so you can work your way up. So then you're going to go the other way and you're going to do single crochets all the way across till you have 10. You can use a stitch marker or you can count. So 1, 2, and then you count. My cat is trying to sit on me here, so you seen his tail. So you just insert your hook, pull up some yarn over and pull through 2. That's how you single crochet. And you do that all the way down till you get to the end. When you reach the end, you're going to chain 1 and then you're going to turn your work. And then you're going to start working the opposite way. I usually pull the tail a little bit tighter so that it kind of holds the work better. So then you turn it and then you're going to go down and chain 10 or single crochet 10 times. You can use a stitch marker or you can count. And I do this 10 times to make a perfect square. You can do however long or however wide you want it. This is just how I do the square that I made on the blanket. It was 10 inches by, 10 chains by 10 chain, or 10 rows to make the patch. And I just continue to keep doing that all the way down. Chain 1 and then turn each time. Using the single crochet is a little bit easier to do the letters on. You can do this lettering on sweaters or more of like a flatter surface like sweaters, or in this case I'm making a patch so that I can sew it to my blanket. So this is what it looks like when it's done. Went up 10. So now I'm just going to work around the border. So do the corners, you do 3 single crochets. And then in each little space, you're going to go down and single crochet all the way around so that you have like a smoother border. So when you sew it on, it looks a little bit cleaner to me. You don't have to do this step, but I like the look of it. So I always just do like a little border around it with single crochet. And every time you go to a corner, you're going to do 3 single crochets. And then I use this sage yarn and I sew that onto the blanket. This is like a little patch that I'm making so that I can start doing the letters. It's just a step that I take to crochet the letters. onto it. I'm just going all the way around, single crocheting. The bottom part's a little bit tougher. I take this little tail and kind of sew it in with it. That way I don't have to sew it in later. And then when it reaches like the end of it, I cut it off. That way it kind of hides that tail and it's not sticking out. I know it's a little bit boring, but I'm just going around making the edges smoother. And I hope you enjoy watching these types of videos. If you like for me to show you how to crochet another letter, or I could try to do it on a sweater if you want to see it on a sweater. I've seen some YouTube videos that already have that done, but I just kind of wanted to make my own little patch to crochet the letter onto. So then you're going to cut that off, that excess of that tail, and you're going to do 3 single crochets in that turn. Have you ever made a patch and crocheted a letter and added it to a blanket before? If you did, do you have any other tips or tricks that maybe I might have missed in this video? What are y'all working on if you're crocheting? If you did learn how to make letters, what would you recommend crocheting the letters on? Would you recommend it? Would you want to crochet it on a sweater or on a patch, or just to practice? I just like taking this little extra step and doing it on a patch. Patch happy. I always say that when something, like I'm doing something like patch happy, slap happy. Just a little joke. But I'm getting ready towards the end, and then when I reach the end, I'm just going to do a slip knot and then tie it off. Cut it and tie it off. And just crocheting around. So this is sort of like what it's looking like. Getting the hair and pieces off of it. Cut it and then kind of tie it off, and then you're going to sew that end in and hide that little tail. So it makes it look, the edges look a little bit more smooth. When you don't do the border, it looks a little bit more rougher, and I don't really like that. These are the little needles that I use to sew the. I'm on a slope, everything's sliding down. My cat's in the way, he won't get off of me, so I'm trying to work around him. So I just insert the thread through, and then I just thread that in the back and kind of hide that little tail. And that way you don't see it and it looks a little bit cleaner. And I use the sage green to sew this onto the blanket. And then you just cut that off. And that's what it looks like. Alright, so now I'm going to do putting these needles back. They keep falling out. So now I'm going to get a pen, like a chalk pen. This one's Clover, it's a blue one. It's got chalk in it, and Madame So I got a pink one, a white one, and a blue one. So I usually fold. You can write however you want to write your letter out. I usually use the chalk and write on there. This one's Madame So. It's a little bit dirty. I've been using it a lot. So then you just write out your letter. Fold it in half, it would center it out better. So I think right here I didn't do that, and then later on I did it to show you. So then you just I'm gonna make a T, letter T. So then you just fold that in half. This is what I was talking about. That way you can find your center. So I was a little off. And then you can just erase the chalk a little bit. And you just kind of go down as far as you want and over as far as you want with the chalk. And then you just cross it and however far you want it to go. So that way you can see what you're doing when you're crocheting the letter in. So then you put your chalk away. And then I grabbed some white yarn. This is hard to unravel. It's just little pieces of yarn I haven't used yet. So it's hard to get some of the yarn up. So I make a slip knot. And then you have a little loop there. You're going to keep that loop. You're going to insert your hook at the bottom of the letter facing you. And then the loop will go into your needle. And then bring that forward. And then it should be on your loop. So then you're going to turn your work. That's what it looks like in the back. However, you're going to be going up with it, so I turned it to go up. So you insert your hook like you're crocheting normally, and then you yarn over, pull through, and then that yarn that you pulled through is going to yarn over, pull some yarn through, and that yarn you pulled through will go into that little loop. So yarn over, pull through the little loop you made. Insert your hook into, pull through some yarn into the loop. Kind of like you're crocheting. Well, you're just going to keep inserting it. You kind of want to make it a little even. And then that yarn will go through. Insert, pull some yarn, and that yarn goes through that. Insert, pull through some yarn, and that will go through that. And then pull some more yarn, and then that will go through that little loop. So then I'm going to go ahead and do one side of the T, and then I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to do the other side. So then you're doing the same thing. You just kind of have to turn your work as you go, and then pull that through. Sometimes it don't want to come through. Insert, yarn over, pull it through the loop. Insert your hook, pull up some yarn, and pull it through. Insert your hook, pull up some yarn, and go through the loop. So then you're going to fasten it off like you normally do, like a slip stitch. Yarn over, and pull it through. Oop, sorry about that. I make mistakes too, so. And then you're going to cut that yarn off. Then you're going to pull all that through that loop that you just made. And then tie it off. And then I poke that through to the back to hide it. And then you can sew that in, or you can just leave the loose threads and then just sew it on to the back however you want to do it. Because nobody's really going to see it anyway. So then you make another slip knot, and we're just kind of like going to start all over to do the other part of the T. So you got a slip knot with a loop, and then I get to the center of the top of the T, insert my hook, and then I put that loop through my hook, and then pull it through. So then you're going to start crocheting like you was. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through the loop. Insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through. And I did that 4 times on both sides to make it even. And then you're going to tie it off like you did the other one. Going to cut it off and then do like a slip stitch and tie that off. And all that yarn will go through. I insert it again, and then I go through that loop to tie it off like a slip stitch. And then that ties it up. So then you're going to poke that through to the back. And like I said, you can sew all that in or leave it like that and sew it onto the blanket or shirt or whatever you're making with the patch. Hat or whatever. So that kind of what it looks like. And there's your tea.